this big brush is calling me. Now that's kind of a really big brush for a small canvas, but because most of what I've used is water soluble, this could be fun. And this is really fun, this moving and activating again this canvas of these colors. And again, because it's not about the lines, but I do like that line in there and that shape in there. So, ooh, look at that turquoise coming through. My most favorite movie in the whole world is The Karate Kid. Well, not the whole movie, just that part where Ralph Macchio gets mad with the teacher because all you're making me do is wax on, wax off. But then when he throws a punch at him, of course, everything he's ever learned comes back at him, and he knows what to do and where to move his hands and things like that. So I know what this big brush is going to do. I know what certain colors are going to do. I know what certain tools are going to do, and I know what's in my drop-down menu, and it'll reappear when I need it. So I know that now this is a hot mess, and I can change it a little bit. So I can take some gesso and another weird flat brush. You don't need really expensive, fancy brushes. And I'm gonna calm some of this down now. And you can't get too attached to any of this stuff because, you know, I know if I really love it, I can recreate it again. And again, I'm still not thinking too much. I'm just playing. Thinking about shapes and patterns and thinking about that negative space. And I do have a palette and I do have paint, and because I love nature and gardens, and this is a complementary color scheme of a red violet and a yellow green. So I'm gonna start with those. And I'll mix a lot of black and white and gray into it too. Then who knows what the heck I'll do with it too. So again, I'll start with a big brush and try not to trip over the dog again. He's right there. But so I've got this reddy violety color. And I don't know. I still don't know at this point what I'm painting, what this is going to be about. But I see a shape in there, and I see another similar shape in there. And I'm just getting some color on there. And maybe I'll go over this in oil paint later. Maybe I'll go over the oil and the coal wax later. But again, but you can hear the music's getting more intense too. So, you know, I'm gonna work a little more intensely sometimes. And I'm gonna maybe work a little bolder. And later, when I'm getting into some of the finer parts, I might put a book on tape or a podcast. But and I am a little sloppy and unconventional. My favorite teaching adage is learn all the rules and then break them. Don't worry about the floor or the wall. That's probably not a good adage, but see, then you get these little magical things that are happening, and you can't always plan that. And so over here, like I didn't intend to make a sunset painting, but I love that yellow, and that Indian yellow, just that color came through, and then it was too much, so I toned it down with some of the color on top of it, and then I liked it, so I brought it somewhere else, and that's too squiggly for me, so I'll just wipe it off. That's kind of fun, what's happening there. Whether it'll stay or not, I don't know. Yeah, alright, so I don't love that. That's my version of wax off. Maybe it would be better if it was lighter. Yeah, I like that much better. This would be better if it was, yeah. This idea of growing things, radiating, and now that's the space I like there, right in there. That's kind of cool. So, get a little smaller brush. So there's a little routine, but it's not a formula. It's not a every time I do the same thing, every time I get the same result. There's always something different. So this is the fast part of the painting. And then I could work in this tiny little space for 4 days. And I don't know what it's about yet, I don't know what it is yet, I don't know where it's gonna go yet, but something's happening. And I'm having a blast. And when I'm not totally narrating, I'll go into a quiet space and I'll start thinking about something, either some garden theme or certain colors make me think of something. I'll start thinking about just that muscle memory of will remind me of a lesson, or here we're getting these grayer things in here, and I had a college professor that talked about gradations all the time, and she rolled her R when she said it, gradations, and I can't ever see that value scale without thinking gradations. So then I'll start thinking about her, and I'll be thinking about my time in Boston, and I'll be thinking about how we were so excited about walking down the streets of Boston and seeing the wrought iron fences creating negative and positive space in the snow. And that's just where my mind goes. It's really a lovely kind of thing because I don't set out to say, let's remember that. It's like a little visit from an old friend. And that's pretty priceless. What am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do next? I'm liking that. Maybe because it's getting closer to fall and I can feel the approaching fall, those golden tones are speaking to me too. And I love that golden tone with this deeper purple, red violety purple. And it always amuses me that now the music's getting quieter and softer and slower, and I paint that way too. it feels like magic, but it isn't a magic trick. And when I let go of that and really remember that I am a highly trained professional and have lots of skills, even if I make a hot mess, I know I can bring it back. I know I can go through that audit of this needs some space, it needs some shape, it needs some line, it needs some texture. I know how to fix it. I know how to do it, so I don't have to worry or be concerned about how everything goes together. I can just play with it and have fun and then see what happens next. If I don't like it, I'll wipe it off, I'll paint over it, I'll redo it, or I'll make a whole other painting. All those little curvy lines need to have some straighter lines in here every once in a while. Gosh, I love that color. That's just that lovely permanent violet mixed with some white, and it's only gesso too. It's just chalky gesso. So sorry, Sarah Gerard, I'm gonna cover up your gradations here. Gradations. And again, like the mark making, there's always these things that start happening, these shapes and these, like this little row of little boxy things. Again, that's that space between. As the plants are growing, I'm not as excited about the plant as those little pockets in between. And if you were only this big in the garden looking through the plants, we think we're so big and we trot across the grass, but what if we were in the grass? What if that was our home? And I like to imagine that kind of space and place, and maybe that creates a little more reverence for all the magical, mystical parts that are out there in Mother Nature. And I'll start thinking about that, and maybe now I'm starting to see the inside of a flower. Maybe we're a little bee right in here, and this is the heart of the flower. Maybe this is that pollen bearing stamen, and these are the emerging leaves. Yeah, I'm just kind of seeing that. I like that idea of the right deep in the heart of that big tulip or poppy or something that has a very cup-like flower, maybe the hibiscus or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I'll let that dry for a while, and then I'll take it to the table and see if I can't pull that flower out.